Okay, it's 4 o'clock. I will call to order the April 27th Salina City Commission meeting. I would ask staff if confirmation has been given as to per the Kansas Open Meeting Act.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. With that, we will do roll call.
Mayor Hoppick.
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Franz.
Here.
Commissioner Hodges.
Here.
Commissioner Ryan.
Here.
Okay, would those that are able please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, before we go any further, I will turn it over to City Manager Mike Scragg to again explain a little bit about how we're set up and how if anyone wishes to call in, we can do that.
Thank you, Mayor Hoppick. We provide this information as part of our public meeting announcements as well as on the agendas that we distribute, but just in case anyone's listening at home and needs further instruction, we use what's called a conference bridge. It allows 150 or more people to call in if they would like and participate in public comment. And the way they can do that is to dial. I'll provide this number and I'll provide it a second time at the end of my comments if anybody has to run and get a pen and paper. So they need to call the following number, 785-621-0800. They'll be asked for a participant ID number, which is 782-956. They'll be prompted to announce themselves, which they don't necessarily have to do. That announcement won't play during our meeting if they're calling in mid-meeting, but they will need to at least press the pound sign to indicate that they've announced themselves. That will then place them into the conference call. They'll come in muted. They'll be able to hear the conversation, and when we call for public comment, we'll ask anyone that wishes to address you as a city commission to press star 9. That shows up on the laptop that I'm monitoring and indicates they wish to speak. That creates an opportunity for me then to identify them, unmute their call, and give them the opportunity to address you at the appropriate part of the meeting as public comment. We don't have any executive sessions scheduled today. We did have one a while back, and the way that we would handle that is if we go into executive session, the call will be muted. YouTube Live will be muted. It'll continue to run, be muted. Salina Media Connection will take the normal steps that they take when we go into executive session and put a message on the screen and mute their audio. We will stay in this room and conduct the executive session. The conference call will continue. It'll just be muted and on hold, essentially. When we complete executive session, we'll then unmute all those technologies. The phone call will be unmuted, YouTube Live will be unmuted, and Salina Media Connection will resume broadcasting. So again, anyone that wishes to call and participate in public comment would need to dial the number 785-621-0800. When prompted for a participant ID number, that is 782-956. And when asked to announce themselves, they don't necessarily have to, but they do need to complete that task by pushing pound or number sign, and that will then place them in the conference call.
Okay, thank you, Mike. With that, we will move to awards and proclamations.
Item 3.1, the month of April 2020 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the City of Salina. Sheila Beeson, DVAC Sexual Assault Advocate, will read the proclamation.
Ms. Beeson is dialed in. I just unmuted phone number 9650, which I believe is Ms. Beeson. Are you there, caller?
Okay, let me try that again.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, wonderful. Sorry, I was muted on my end, even though I did star 9. Sorry about that. So, yes, I'm Sheila Beeson. I'm the sexual assault advocate at DVAC, and I appreciate having this time today in this unusual situation, but we appreciate the support that the city of Salina has always given us, especially during our awareness month. So, yes, I'm going to go ahead and proceed to read the proclamation. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every person in this community. Whereas the goal of Sexual Assault Awareness Month is to raise public awareness about sexual violence and educate communities on how to prevent it. Rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment harm our community, and statistics show 1 in 5 women and 1 in 67 men will be raped at some point in their lives. Whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience sexual assault before age 18. Whereas on campus, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted during their time in college. Whereas in 2018, 32 incidents of sexual violence were reported to law enforcement in the city of Salina. Whereas this year, Sexual Assault Awareness Month is celebrating its 19th anniversary. The theme for this year's campaign, I Ask, helps empower all of us to put consent into practice and shares the message that asking for consent is a normal and necessary part of sex. Whereas the Domestic Violence Association of Central Kansas, otherwise known as DVAC, is Salina's local victims advocacy and services program for people in our community who have had sexual and or domestic violence inflicted upon them. Whereas the City of Salina joins advocates and communities across the country in taking action to prevent sexual violence. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and each day of the year is an opportunity to create teams for the future. Now, therefore, I, Michael Hoppick, Mayor of City of Salina, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2020 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. This is Mayor Hoppick. I know due to the COVID-19, you may not have been able to have any events that you would have usually had scheduled, or did you have some? Or if not, you might give us a background on what you would have done under normal circumstances.
Under normal circumstances, we would have had our candlelight vigil at Kansas Wesleyan, and we did have a speak night scheduled for our annual one over at Ad Astra. Unfortunately, due to not being able to gather, we did have to cancel those this year. However, we have been making posts on Facebook and other social outlets and to just help raise awareness. And we just want everybody to know that DVAC, our hotline is still open and our shelter is still open. So if anybody's needing help, please reach out. I have the numbers here. Our toll-free hotline is 1-800-874-1499, and our local number that most people use is 785-827-5862. And there you will reach a trained advocate who can help provide counseling over the phone and help safety plan and help get out of a dangerous situation.
Okay. Sheila, thank you very much, and we appreciate the work you do in our community, and our city clerk will get that proclamation mailed out to you.
Great.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. With that, it brings us to the Citizens Forum. This is a chance for someone to call in if they wish and discuss something that is not on the agenda for today. And I'll give Mike a couple seconds here to see if we have anybody that raises their hand and would like to speak.
Yep, we have one phone number ending in 2190. I'm going to unmute you. Phone number ending in 2190. You're unmuted on this end.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name's Garrett Walker. I am I'm a resident here in Salina, and I was wondering here in the next couple months, possibly at the end of July, to be specific, the July 12th. We have kind of like established a little flag football league here in Salina that we kind of play on Sundays, or we have been playing on Sundays. And I was wondering if I would need permission or some sort of authentication to hold my own type of league at at Bill Burke, honestly.
So this is Mike Scragg, city manager. I guess the first thing that needs to happen is we need additional guidance between now and that date in terms of mass gatherings and stay-at-home orders, that type of thing. From what I've heard, the governor has indicated, well, the governor's current stay-at-home order extends through May 3rd, so we expect that we'll receive additional direction yet this week, possibly to then be in effect beginning next week. But again, it's a combination of stay-at-home order and mass gathering. If you recall, it started out with a limitation on mass gatherings of 50, and then it went down to 10. So we're really just kind of monitoring what guidance comes from the national level and from the governor's office in terms of what type of phased-in activities are acceptable. I'm speculating a little bit, but I expect physical contact. I realize it's flag football, but you'll still have blocking and that type of thing. So I would be a little concerned that we need more guidance about that level of physical contact before I could give you an answer. If the question is making use of the parks on the premise that the activity is permitted, then we could certainly work with you to make a reservation for the facilities.
With the word reservation, would that come with like a price amount or some sort that would go towards like the Parks and Rec or something like that?
We'd really have to talk about which space you have in mind, and the Parks office could help you with that. We do have a reservation system, and just depending on the space in mind, there are fees in some instances, and we take open reservations in others.
Okay. All right. Awesome. That honestly is information I really wanted to know. I'm pretty clear on the stay-at-home order and everything. I know it was till May 3rd, but we're just kind of like in the middle of, we have like 100, 150 guys in this league, and we're all like questioning, like, what can we do after the stay-at-home order, and if we're even able to play after the May 3rd. So that's just something I wanted to know. And I'm participating in a league right now, but I would like to create my own. So this is just information I was just wanting to know, so I can take the steps to get ready and possibly keep calling and figuring out if this can be possible to be done.
Sure. A lot of people are anxious to get back to normal and get active, and I wish I knew more, but there's just a lot of unknowns at this point. We'll know more as we get additional guidance.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll probably be calling in more as the weeks go by, just to touch base and see if you guys know anything, or if I can move forward with anything.
Yeah, the Parks Department is your best resource. They can help you day in and day out, and they'll be the ones that have a higher level of detail for you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you, Garrett.
I guess I'll make another call for anyone else. Press star 9 if you wish to address the City Commission. There are no others.
Okay. That will lead us to the consent agenda.
Item 6.1, approve the minutes of April 20th, 2020.
Okay. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes?
Mayor Hoppick, Commissioner Ryan here. I move we approve the minutes of April 20th, 2020.
Commissioner Davis, second.
Mayor Hoppick here. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes 5-0. That leads us to administration, 7.1.
Item 7.1, authorize the fire department to award bid for backup generator located at fire station number 3.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Mr. Mayor. Come here this afternoon to seek approval for the awarded bid for a backup diesel generator to be located at Fire Station Number 3, 2633 Belmont. This generator also services our 911 backup dispatch center in the basement. This generator was the original generator when the station was built in 1983. It's going on 37 years old, and it's at the end of its life cycle. Bids were requested in January, and on February 13, 2020, bids were opened with the results in front of you on the blue sheet. This project was an approved 2020 sub-CIP project. The 911 committee is willing to split the cost 50%. All members of the 911 committee were polled and voted in the affirmative and yes to fund half of the cost. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have before we move forward with the recommendation.
I don't see any. Go ahead.
Recommended action, number 1, to award contract to Foley Equipment in the amount of $56,333 with 911 Fund Committee agreeing to 50% of cost. Number 2, award contract to Foley Equipment in the amount of $56,333 with 911 Fund Committee agreeing to 50% of cost with amendments as City Commission deems appropriate. Number 3, postpone consideration of award of bid to a specified date and time and provide staff direction regarding additional information or amendments the City Commission would like to request for their further considerations. And number 4, do not award contract and provide staff further direction. The Fire Department recommends approval of action item number 1.
And Mike Craig here, if I may. This is a little noteworthy in that we're not recommending award to the low bidder, and that's something that gets our attention, and by policy, that is within your authority. I think the thing that's noteworthy here is a couple things. The low bidder is a high-power brand generator that is relatively new to the market. Their bid did not account for the current location of the generator being inside the building, and so they proposed an outdoor generator, so their bid does not account for the additional expense of pouring a pad and rewiring from that outdoor location into the electrical system of the building. And then they also have a warranty provision that any service and maintenance on the high-power brand generator must be performed by a high-power service provider only. And as near as we can tell, the closest location of high-power service technicians are Olathe, Kansas, compared to all the other generators in our system that are same brand as the second low bidder and serviced by the same company. So primarily because of that unknown added cost, but also because of the specificity of the high-power technicians having to do the work, we've recommended the second low bidder.
Any commissioners have any questions or comments? Are there any callers on the line that would wish to comment?
I don't believe so. I saw one call in as we were starting this conversation, raise their hand, and then drop off the call. But there is no one at the moment.
Okay, with that, I will bring it back to the commission.
Mayor Hoppick, I move we award the contract to Foley Equipment in the amount of $56,333 with the 911 Fund Committee agreeing to 50% of the cost.
Commissioner,
Authorizing the department to award the bid for a backup generator located at Fire Station number 3.
Commissioner Davis, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of the backup generator from Foley Equipment. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay, we have no development business. That brings us to other business. Do we have any commissioners that have other business they'd like to bring before the group?
I don't really need an answer. This is Commissioner Davis. Now, there's been several requests to, as buildings and services are reestablished, to put the recycling center near the top of that list, if possible. And I'm not asking anything be done this week, but just wanted to reiterate that.
Duly noted.
People's garages, mine included, are getting kind of full.
Yeah, we have a handful of things that are, we get feedback about, and as we get more information about the stay-at-home order and as we get more economic information about our financial performance, we're prepared to look at those in greater detail in terms of just the viability or the practicality of providing the service in light of the guidance we're getting, as well as the economic aspects.
Okay. One thing I may ask Mike to address is I believe we've heard back on some of our job share.
Yes, because of the need to submit work sharing on a affected unit basis, I think is the way the state refers to it. We submitted 25, 26 work share plans the day after you authorized proceeding with that staffing level. Over the weekend, we received confirmation or approval of 15 of them. 2 were denied on the basis of each one of them had one part-time employee that we proposed for work sharing, and apparently they need to be a full 40-hour employee that's reduced 20 to 40%. So we've resubmitted those work share plans without the part-time employee in them, and that leaves, I believe, 7 to 9 that we're waiting to hear from. I don't know if they assigned them to different staff people on different schedules, and some worked over the weekend and some didn't, but all indications are that essentially everything that we've submitted and we've received a response on either was approved or can be approved so far.
Okay, and one more.
Yes.
If I could, Commissioner Davis here. Just wanted to know if there was any update on our finalizing the contract with the county for the Expo Center lease.
Yes, we've been able to find some time to work on that. The city attorney and I will be working on that between now and well, tomorrow actually, looking at the draft, and with kind of all of our staffing and budget behind us, I think you'll start to see agenda items come back kind of more like normal, and that'll be one of the first ones you'll see.
This will be a great time for the work to get done since the buildings are empty. Right?
Yep. We understand it's a priority for the county, and it's an odd time to be talking budget, especially with all the unknowns, but now would be the time to get that finalized so they can plan accordingly as well.
Thank you.
Okay, any other business? If not, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
Commissioner Davis, move to adjourn.
Commissioner Ryan, second.
Mayor Hoppick, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes 5-0. We will see everyone back here Monday.